We all tend to think of time as this river, just carrying us along for the ride. But what if that's not the whole story? What if time is more like a vast cosmic architecture that we can actually interact with? What if every single thing we do has a perfect window, a perfect moment to create the biggest possible impact? Well, that's exactly the secret we're going to unlock today.
A lot of us know this beautiful verse. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Or in the original Hebrew, Et hakol asa yafe bito. And it sounds so poetic, right? It brings to mind this idea of a perfect divine plan just unfolding. But what if it's more than just poetry? The ancient mystics saw this as an actual blueprint for how reality works. And the secret is locked inside that very last word, bito, in its appointed time. And this is the idea that changes everything. Forget the passive river. Let's imagine time as a divine operating system, an active, living environment with its own code, its own triggers. And all of our actions, they're like little programs we're running within this system. Suddenly, success isn't just about what you do, but when you do it. This isn't about just being patient. It's about being in sync.
So, to really get this, here's our roadmap. We're going to explore the secret of divine timing, map out its architecture, and see how a single moment is literally born. Then we'll look at the two paths you can take. You can either sync up with the system or you can glitch. We'll even use a video game analogy to make it super clear. And finally, we'll see how you can start to become a master of this incredible system.
All right, let's start with the absolute key to all of this, getting what Bito and its appointed time really means. See, this isn't some vague, it'll happen at the right time. No. It means that every single moment has a unique spiritual potential, a specific energy signature. So to act Bito means you're aligning your action with that potential, turning a simple deed into a reality-shaping event.
Okay, so how does this whole thing actually work? Well, before they can get into the mechanics, the engine room, we need the map. Mystical tradition maps out reality using a system called the Sephirot. Think of them like divine attributes or channels of energy. And for our journey into time, 3 of them are absolutely essential. They form the very structure through which every single moment is conceived, shaped, and then delivered right to us. So, way up at the top, you have Binah. You can think of Binah as the great scheduler. The ancient texts literally call it the root of the tree of time. This is where the very concepts of time cycles are born. We're talking huge patterns, like the 7-year agricultural cycle. So what does that mean for us? It means our lives aren't random. There's an underlying rhythm and order to reality, a blueprint for time itself that all starts right here in Binah.
Now, from Binah's grand blueprint, that energy flows down to Tiferet, the harmonizer. If Binah is the scheduler, Tiferet is the CPU. It's what defines the spiritual weather of any given moment. And it does that by balancing 2 fundamental forces. On one hand, you have Chesed, which is this expansive, loving kindness, and on the other, Gevura, which is restrictive, focused discipline. The unique blend of these two is what sets the context for every single moment we experience.
And finally, all that energy arrives at Malchut, the execution layer. This is our world. This is tangible reality. The moment, which was conceived up in Binah and then perfectly balanced in Tiferet, now shows up here as a concrete opportunity. It's called an an appointed time. Malchut is the interface, you could say. It's the docking station where all that spiritual potential finally meets our physical action.
Okay, so we've seen the map, right? We've got the blueprint, the processor, and the interface. So now let's actually step into the engine room. Let's see the process that brings a single, totally unique moment into existence, making it ready for us to engage with.
It's like a production line for reality. It all begins with conception in Binah, which dreams up the potential. Then comes harmonization in Tiferet, which gives that potential a specific character, a unique flavor, by blending those spiritual energies. And finally, manifestation in Malchut delivers that fully formed opportunity into our world as an a perfect window for action.
Now this quote right here, this is a total game changer. It says, time, that is Malchut, and it changes under heaven, which is Tiferet. What does that mean? It means the tangible time that we experience is Malchut, and its quality, its very nature, is constantly being shaped from one level above by the spiritual balance coming from Tiferet. So time isn't just some static, straight line. It's a living, breathing, dynamic force. And this brings us to what's called the Sod, or the secret level of understanding. See, once you know that time is a dynamic system, you realize that we are constantly facing a choice.
We can either align with it and achieve perfect synchronization, or we can miss the timing and create a spiritual glitch. So, to really get our heads around this ancient truth, let's use a modern analogy.
Let's go right back to our core idea. Time is a divine operating system. Every single action we take, a prayer, a kind word, a good deed, is basically a function call in this cosmic code. But here's the secret. For that function call to execute properly, it has to run within the correct, time-triggered environment. And that environment is the Et, that appointed moment, perfectly prepped by Binah and Tiferet, just for you.
This comparison explains everything. When you perform a good deed, a mitzvah, in its appointed time, it's like a perfect function call. It plugs you right into the divine flow of blessing, which is called Shefa, and it weaves a beautiful golden thread in the cosmic tapestry. But a mistimed action, or a negative one, that's a glitch. The system immediately reroutes it to its error handling protocol, a force of severe judgment called Din. And this connects you to what the mystics call the katagria, or the accusing forces, weaving a dark, distorted knot into the fabric of reality.
And the stakes here are, well, they're cosmic, no exaggeration. The ancient texts teach that a single human action can literally tip the scales for the entire world. Just look at the table. A good deed at the right time tilts the world toward merit, or zechut, but a transgression, at any time, tilts it toward liability, or chovah. The timing and the nature of what we do has a global impact.
And get this, the mystical texts even describe these dynamics using colors. This isn't just poetry, it's like a diagnostic tool. Positive forces like kindness and harmony are represented by white and green light, which lead to a successful, radiant gold integration. On the flip side, negative forces like severity show up as a pulse of deep red. And a pure negative force, the klipa, is an absorbing void of black. And a system glitch, an action out of sync with time that creates a murky, distorted gray pattern.
Okay, I know this is deep stuff. It's a completely different way of looking at reality. So to make sure this really lands and hits home for everybody, we're going to run this entire concept through two totally different simulators. First, a visual, intuitive model, the video game. And second, a technical, logical model, the cosmic engineering blueprint.
All right, first up, for the visual learners, the gamers out there, or really just the kid inside all of us, imagine for a second that life is a cosmic rhythm game. The music is the flow of creation itself, and opportunities for good deeds, for mitzvot, they appear on the screen like notes flowing toward you. Your job is simple. Hit those notes at the perfect time.
So let's break down the game mechanics. You hit that mitzvah note, bateau, right in the sweet spot, boom, you get a bonus multiplier, a huge score increase. You draw down extra spiritual light, that divine shefa. Now, what happens if you do the mitzvah but you're a little late? Low bateau? The game says good, but no bonus. The opportunity was partially lost. And what if you do a negative act? That's not just a missed note, my friend. You trigger a trap. You get hit with a damage over time effect from the kategoria, those accusing systems. So the goal of the game is pretty clear. Sync your life up with the rhythm of creation to get the highest spiritual score possible.
Okay, now let's pivot. For all the engineers, the programmers, the systems thinkers out there, let's look at this another way. Forget the game for a second. Let's pull up the blueprint. Time isn't some linear script that just executes line by line. No, it's a highly sophisticated event-driven architecture, and our souls were the processes running within this incredibly complex system.
So here's how you engineer your reality. Each moment, each et, is a unique event triggered by the system, and this event carries a specific context, that perfect balance of Sephirot flowing down from Tiferet. Your action, your mitzvah, is a process that is specifically designed to run within that exact context. When you execute that process at the right time, it integrates perfectly. It adds value to the whole system and contributes to its overall health, which is what we call zechut. But if you execute that process at the wrong time, or you try to run a malicious process, an avera, it creates a system fault. The OS immediately isolates that process and reroutes it to a fault-handling subsystem for debugging and quarantine, the realm of Din.
So let's bring all of this home. The reason this knowledge is so important isn't just because it's interesting, it's about empowerment. The mystics didn't reveal these secrets just for our intellectual curiosity. They did it to show us that we are not passive observers just floating down some river of time. We are active co-creators. We are the cosmic engineers with our hands on the keyboard.
And check out this number, 28.
One ancient text explains that there are 28 primary etim, or appointed times, that make up the fundamental cycles of our reality. What this shows us is that the system isn't random. It's structured, it's quantifiable, it's a system that can be learned and navigated. Time has a rhythm, and with practice, we can learn to feel it.
And this brings us right back to our incredible power and our incredible responsibility. I mean, just listen to this quote. A single action can tip the scales toward merit or liability for the entire world. Every moment we're alive matters on a cosmic scale. We are all, collectively, writing the code of reality, moment by moment.
So we end with a question for you to take with you. This whole teaching of Binah is really a call to action. It's asking us to live with intention, with awareness, with synchronization. It's not just about waiting for the right time, but about recognizing the incredible potential that's embedded in this time, right now. It's about looking at the week ahead, not as a random series of events, but as a sequence of unique, divinely crafted opportunities. So, which moment this week will you align with? Which moment will you make beautiful?
Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.